we're all like live and stuff.
Stuart, we've gone from this to this. Oh, I can't see now. Oh no.
Yes.
We gotta go back in time. It's the same cast. Which is the first time we've been able to say that successfully.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Kind of surreal and weird going back and watching this now, but
All,
easily just instantly fall back into it.
all of their wrinkles disappeared.
Yeah.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi guys, and Samuel.
Thank you. I am here too.
Welcome back. We're back to TNG reviews.
Yes.
We're starting off season 5, episode 11, Hero Worship.
Yes.
Are you back?
And
Hopefully you had a chance to watch it before you came to this review.
yes. And of course, you know, we're going to treat it the exact same way as all the other review shows we do. Full analysis, breakdown, thought-provoking commentary. It's the exact same way we always do. Because that's the fun, isn't it? And also, you know, how does it hold up? Because also things are remastered in HD, it's kind of easy to watch them, obviously. They hold up better. Interestingly, how much of a, you know, how does it compare to Picard?
Exactly.
Does it compare to Discovery? You know.
Oh, good God.
Yes, it does. Alright, I will start sharing. I'll see you in a minute.
For sure. And I'll tell these fine folks that if they want to help support the channel, just hit that like button. It's simple, it's easy. Just a thumbs up away. Hit that like button. Also, consider super chatting. We want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, anything about this episode, anything about anything. Just super chat it in. We do read them all. So if you want to have your whatever addressed, that is the best way to do it. It's just super chat in. We really appreciate that for sure. Also, don't forget to join the channel. There we have an awesome fleet at the end of our videos, which you guys can be a part of. So look at all the options for that. You can do that down there by hitting the join button, or by heading on over to Patreon/Trekyards. The same perks, ranks, everything apply over there as well. And it's another way to support us if you wanted to. Some people actually support us on both. They've joined the channel and they're a Patreon member. So that's doubly awesome. So if you can do that, please do so. Also consider clicking the links down below. There are links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store where you have lots of cool Trekyards merch. But yes, we're back and we're going to be getting into TNG. Again, we got a little while before Strange New World starts. So I think every Tuesday and Thursday we'll try to do another TNG review, push those along. So hopefully you guys will tune in and watch and take part, because we've done it all up to here. All the TNG up to season 5 so far. So this will be interesting. The chat's crazy. I love you guys. But yeah, by all means, support us in any way you're able to, and just share it around. Let people know about Trekyards. Tell them the Trekyards word, and have them come and join, or at least subscribe and watch. So yeah. And Samuel's back.
I am. And we,
Yes.
you know, have your discussion. Have your comments. Say things.
Do it.
In the chat. We aren't just, unlike a lot of review shows, channels, we aren't just, it's about us, it's about you guys. So put in your thoughts, comments, questions, and, you know, throw us a curveball, like, did you know? And like, who are you? Well, how did you get into our head? And like, oh no, it's in the live chat, it's fine. Oh, right. It's all good at that point. So Stuart, what do you think of, and I'm shocked I'm saying this, TNG, Season 5, Episode 11, Hero Worship? As we go back in time 30 years.
It's good to get back into it. I miss this format of like a character-driven piece as well as a mystery that they have to solve.
Hi, Jill.
That being said, this is one of those ones that is very kind of lackluster for me. This is kind of like filler episode and not the best one. Kind of a weird place to restart doing reviews, honestly. But so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And as you know, my subtitles, I didn't have access to them for whatever reason, and so this isn't. I don't have all the dialogue that I usually do. This isn't that bad for technobabble and stuff.
We
so
don't need
I made
that.
some notes.
I never get that stuff.
I made some notes and stuff. So anyway, yeah, this is actually probably the first mention of the Breen in all of Star Trek.
That was fun.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was the first or not.
It's
but,
gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
So there's a few little cool things in this one, but overall it's just kind of a episode for me. But we'll see how it goes when we talk about it, because might learn a few things from you or from the audience out there. So,
But why is
how about
it
you? How was
kind,
getting
but,
back?
but why is it kind of meh? Can you, without going to full review, why is it meh?
It's not an ensemble piece. This one, it's very data focused, which is fine. But it's just the mystery seems like obvious to anybody that has a brain. I don't know. It's just this one just lacks some kind of punch for me. It's just it's always been that way with this one. This one's just kind of an interesting. I'll kind of half pay attention to this when it's on. And yeah, there's just not much substance to this one in my opinion. But how about you? How was getting back into TNG with this episode?
Well, it was a bit of a mind effery to because we have had an incredible schedule, right? Thursday, get episode, send to Stuart, watch episode, talk to you minutes later. Will Stuart agree with me? Will he say I'm an idiot? And I edit that out because I have that power. No, okay. And then bounce, get content done. And this is like, let's throw on TNG from the Blu-ray that I've had for 5 years. This filmed in 1980s. Like it's a whole different vibe, right? It was a really interesting. I sat down to watch it with dinner, and it was way more chill. So that was surreal.
Yeah.
I was, of course, reminded how fucking good these sets are. They're so nice, so comfortable, so bright, so friendly. Every set looks nice. Yes, there's some plain angles, and I've found them in my own fan films, but they're so nice. You can just shoot in the crew quarters, and it just looks nice. You don't have to think too much, right? It's just they're just nice sets. They just work. That what came across very strongly for me. This episode in particular was certainly odd because Data is one of the standout, obviously, characters. He is not shining here. He is doing fine. So it's odd to see a Data episode where he's not excelling like he does normally. So that was a bit odd. Filler's an odd word though, because it's not filler, it's a Data piece with him learning to be more human, sort of, not really. Like, they're all filler pieces by that nature of that. There is no grand story of TNG really.
This is the least, like, one of the lower tier ones though, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's just a less interesting plot, not a filler. Because half of them are filler, over half, because there's very few through lines, because there's no end story.
I'm just used to saying filler because we watched the serial and stuff.
You can't really say that with this. It's just a story that didn't hit so well. There aren't really filler episodes, except like Shades of Grey, which literally is to fill time because they couldn't afford to make an episode.
Writer's strike. That's the reason.
Oh yeah, back to those, aren't we, Stuart?
Yeah.
I think in general though this episode is a sort okay. And I will say I had a bit of a strange predicament that I was watching it, and then the kid is on the ship at the start, the first few minutes. And then suddenly he's in the classroom building the blocks. And I thought, oh, that's a weird edit. Why would you go from there to there? Okay, I guess we're gonna skip time. And the story completed, and then I watched the trailer because I like to go back and watch the Star Trek, and I was like, that scene didn't happen. What happened? Turns out my TV skipped like 7 minutes of the episode, so I missed the entire setup of their relationship, and I didn't press anything. So I went straight from he's on the ship to Deanna saying, he's really grown fond of you. And I'm thinking, no, he hasn't. Well, that's a weird off-screen thing to happen. So I had to go back and watch that bit again. So I had a bit of in my head. So that aside, right? For me, this episode, like I said, solid okay. It's two plots that are good ideas, not overly well executed, because neither are given the time to flourish. Child being like Data, great concept. Child dealing with grief, great concept. You meld those together, neither are quite fully fleshed out enough to justify them being fully shown. The science plot, it's there, there's no depth to it, and then it's over. I know it's all intertwined, but they should have cut out one subset and give it more focus, because it was too broad. I was expecting more depth of the emotional stuff, or more fun with the Data stuff, or more science with the science stuff, and none of it got the time it needed, so it all fell on a lower tier. I also found the first scene with the kid being Data very cringeworthy. it was hard to watch of how like embarrassed I was for him having to perform this, and he wasn't great. He gets better as it gets less, you know, look, I'm doing this, and this is cringe, right? It's not fun to watch. I was, ugh. But he got better as they were evolving. He got more subtle, and I liked Data saying, you know, oh, does my servos do this? Never know. Like that, the fun came later, but certainly that bit was a bit weird. Good to see Troy, but Beverly was there. Riker said a thing. Worf looked bored. Picard didn't really feel very on point. He was distracted.
This episode was directed by Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
So that might have been why.
Distracted.
That's why he was probably felt like that. His character felt different. I think it's because he was directing. I think it's probably one of his first directing roles too.
Like I said, he felt distracted. He was doing fine, but he didn't feel connected to the material. Even though in theory it's a dark material, this kid with grief. Plus, I'm not sure I can buy let's let a kid live in delusion to get over a thing, and it was just played so like, oh, let him be delusional for a bit. Didn't feel as scientific as it could have felt. There wasn't like a reason for that, per se. So, it was. I remember it being better. I remember the concept being stronger. It did not live up to the remembrances that I had. What do you think? Have I nailed on some heads? Whatever the phrase is.
You kind of said like everything was just kind of lower tier. That's what I feel about this episode. I don't know how to vocalize it. It's just this one is not one of my favorite TNG episodes. This is very like lower tier.
And it's not bad. I think you could easily like you could edit it down to a really strong 20 minutes, because then you'd up the pace a lot and you'd just have the highlights, and that I think would be quite strong. But then you wouldn't expect the depth that a 50-minute show would present you. And also, why do they spend the first 6 minutes just in the ship, or first 3 minutes is very slow? My goodness, get to the drama, right? We don't need that much setup. And you can imagine the actors, they were saying, so what are we doing this first day of shooting? We're going to walk into ship, scan, and find boy. Well, we've walked into a ship 10 times this season. Doing it again, are we? Same set again, are we? Okay. You know, it wasn't very dynamic. Well, I guess, like I say, Patrick Stewart's directing it. Wasn't bad by any means, just something was uninspired.
Something felt off about the whole episode. I don't know what it is. So
I also think it wasn't experimental in any way. It was very safely shot, right? Very safe, very comfortable in its TNG. There wasn't any great angles, wasn't any great edits, there wasn't any great moments of like that was a thing, right? Which comes from an experienced director, because you could pull really interesting visuals from things, but they didn't really have any of those.
Yeah. So.
Also, we have a poll, Stuart.
We do. Go vote on the poll. Do you think TNG is the best overall Trek series? Yes, no. DS9 clearly better. TOS, the classic, is the best.
Because you have people that'll be annoyingly controversial. So DS9's the best, or TOS is the best. So I thought I'd throw those in as a possibility. But Stuart, how do we start?
Well, Jessica James says clearly Voyager is the best series. Yeah, so.
I mean, I like it a lot. Not the best.
Well, they're on their way. They've lost contact with the SS Vigo, which is SS, not USS, by the way. And it was investigating a black cluster. And it just lost all contacts. They're on their way to investigate.
It's very by the numbers.
It is indeed.
Which normally we like. This one wasn't very dynamic. They be on board, and they walk.
We get a crunched up Oberth class though, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same they've used before. There's a few crunched up Oberths. I always love seeing it though. I love the old ships being represented like that. It's fun. Like one thing I don't like about when they beam in, I get no sense of ship dimensions or proportions. I have no idea where they're beaming to. Like that, I kind of appreciate that in a sense. It's just obviously generic corridor with pipes. Like it feels bigger than it is, but I get no sense of anything from it. They
said one of the labs. It's on the inner part of the ship, because they wanted to do an uplink to get all the sensor data, but they couldn't because the emergency bulkheads were in place. Which to me seems like an incredibly stupid idea. It could be because of the the black cluster around it, but
No. It's
if
the ship
emergency
itself.
bulkheads lock into place, limiting access to the sensor logs just seems kind of silly. But just could be because of damage, I guess. But it was just a weird reason for them to have to go over. Because there was no life signs detected either.
No.
But
they are sets, and we get a jump scare with Geordie for some reason. Because let's pad this intro.
yeah,
Okay.
I miss the old palm lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic.
But yeah, they find a kid, which is since his life signs are being masked by all the interference and the shielding in this area of the ship, which they start by initiating the
Yeah, that takes a very long time, and it's utterly meaningless in the grand scheme of the story.
Yeah.
And it's sort of that straightforward, really. There's nothing really there's nothing there to. It's you know, and even the kid's acting is odd. I get he's traumatized, but he doesn't give a thing in this scene. He's just there. There's no help me. Are you Starfleet? Or don't hurt me, Breen. Like there's nothing to. I know it's like a blank slate sort of scene, but yeah.
A really nice image of the smashed Oberth. You get to see some deck details in there. I love those physical models where they did that.
Yeah, they say later the bridge got blown out into space, and that's sad.
And if you notice on the Enterprise D, 10 forwards lit up pretty nicely. And none of the other saucer room windows are. So, yeah. It's interesting to see that.
Well, 4-foot miniature. But that is true. I guess there's a party going. And then you get a rather long and drawn out camera beam up sequence. It's not really tension filled. Again, it's just sort of they're saying things. And also, can I just point out, some people complained that one of my actors in my last Trek short is too old to be an ensign. This guy's in his mid-30s, clearly. He's an ensign.
And so's the lady at Helm.
Yeah, he can be any age. Like, some people don't progress. Some people like where they are. Like, he's not an early 20s young. He's not remotely early 20s. He is in his 30s and looking okay for it, or very late 20s and looking bad for it.
People can join Starfleet at any time. I don't understand the problem.
Don't get it either. And also, Matt's younger than this guy, so okay.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, they're having trouble beaming, so Data's going to lift the thing off, but that's going to cause a structural collapse. So it's all got to be done rather quickly. They're going to get out into the corridor to get away from the shielding so they can be beamed out.
I kind of thought for some reason that the ship was going to explode. The way they set up, like, this beam is holding up the ship. Because they're like, quick, you gotta go, and then they beam out, and the whole thing explodes. And I was like, oh, that's why the ship goes away. Don't know why I was expecting that, but crossed my mind, Stuart. I don't know why. The beam of strength.
That's funny.
Thank you. But yeah, it's that easy. I do quite like the effect of them. You know, anytime there's a because obviously when they do a beam effect, it's a clean plate. They have to pause, walk out. So they combine several things, but whenever you go from a moving shot into a static beam and then something comes in, that's a nice set of things. So I like that it was a walk and talk, and then the thing comes down and almost kills them. That was a nice way of doing that. That was what I did.
Anyway, they beam into sickbay, and the kid's very clingy to Data. The pressure's like, don't worry, we're not going to hurt you. It's fine. Typical doctor stuff. Yeah, then we get the whole conversation about he doesn't know what happened, he doesn't really remember, and Data gets called away to engineering, but the kid won't let go of his hand. I don't know the dialogue there, unfortunately, but he's taking a shine to Data because Data rescued him.
It's again, it's very sort of standard stuff. There's not too much. The kid does okay. It's just about being a comfort blanket. But you know, it sets up reasonably well. I kind of wish the kid's angle was more interesting than just a blue background. That was not a well shot thing. I know it's kind of hard to do with what he's got, but really, I was could have put him. If you put him on the main bed, sitting up, would have been a much more interesting angle.
Thing is, everybody's always on the main bed. I like that they're using these ones at back wall.
It just feels like a reshoot, like 9 months later, on in some guy's office, right? Like it feels super disconnected. But then you get back to the engineering, and they're going through this. They're going through information which really isn't important in the grand scheme. It feels somewhat wasteful dialogue in the grand scheme. You know what happened to the ship a little bit. They don't even mention a wave. They mention EM thing later, but that's not a wave. They never really say this wave hit the ship. The thing that we fight later. There's a. They're going through the motions to make it sciencey, but if you spend too much time on not the right problem, then it doesn't connect to the final issue enough to be strong.
Yeah. They point out where they found Timothy, where they found his mom, but his dad was on the bridge. He's second officer and is gone. So.
And that's a definitive scale chart, right? Because you can see a deck layout, you can see the nacelles, you can see a shuttle pod. I mean, that's kind of cool. Wow, a shuttle bay at the back of the O-berth's bottom bit with a shuttle pod for scale. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you can
I
see
really like these schematics.
Because that's them. I don't think they've done that level of clarity before. Because that is very readable to the point of you could basically work out every. I mean, not the text, but
this would be a part of the remaster, I would assume.
No. It's in the wide. That was on set. Yeah, those reflections and the way Geordie puts a hand for it. That's on set. That's all there. I mean, well, it's like, well, I don't know. No, he puts his hand in front of it. There's no matte line.
Anyway, it looks great.
Well, the nacelles are out of proportion. The nacelles go back further. O-berth nacelles aren't that shallow.
A little bit, yeah. I think it was the scene earlier where they were talking to the kid, but he said there was a ship that attacked them, and they beamed aboard with phaser rifles, and they had purple helmets.
Mm-hmm.
He's been watching the animated series.
But it's funny because I don't know if that's them actually saying in DS9, let's go back and what are the Breen meant to be? Oh, they're guys with helmets. Because I was like, we're going to get Breen? Do they predate when I thought?
It doesn't mention the Breen here. They mention the Breen much later.
No, but Breens have helmets. I mean, that's who they are, right? There's not many races that use helmets, and there's clearly oxygen, so... But yeah, he was very certain to the point of, yes, the attack. It's odd they don't believe him, though. There's a disconnect as if they've read later in the script. They don't really... You know? There's not like a... Red alert! You know, dead at the bridge. There's enemy forces nearby. You should raise shield. Everyone's like, yeah, get some rest. We know you were attacked a day ago and there's people nearby, but take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back in engineering, we find out that 83% of their sensor log data was erased, and Geordi thinks it might be some kind of like EMP weapon that did it. Or just an EMP. And again, more great visuals of the O-berth. I really like the way they kind of like come in. But and then Data asks Geordi if anything traumatizing has ever happened to him. He's like, well, I was in a fire once. I was about 5. It was before I got my first visor. So we find out a little bit about Geordi, actually, and that he couldn't let his parents out of eyesight for quite a while. He wanted to make sure that they were always there, kind of thing. So.
It's nice. Although I was left wondering, why has Geordi walked all the way over here to yell across the room? I know his friend can hear him, but he's a commanding officer in Starfleet. Let me tell everybody engineering the story of me in a fire. Let me just yell it across Ensign! That fire! Do you remember? I told you. Very weird framing. I mean, they should have walked up to him.
Again, Patrick Stewart directed this, and I think it's one of his first, if not his first, directorial thing. So
it felt
he's just trying to make dynamic use of the space, I think.
Geordie's got a great shot on the way the light's hitting him. It's great, but it feels so staged. Like, Geordie, go lean on the engineering core for no reason. Yes, Captain. I mean, Director. I mean, Captain. It's just a very odd scene because he's so personable and I know Droid likes his crew, but this is quite a personal story that you can talk to somebody in your office personally, but he's just basically yelling it to the entire office, and it's odd to do.
Well, yeah. We never hear anything about this fire. I'm sure if there's a new LaForge series, we'll find out that his sister and his dog got killed in the fire.
His cousin Reginald.
His dog hung itself. Or hanged itself.
No. His mother hung his cat, and yeah.
Everybody has to have something tragic in their backs. So.
Yes.
Anyway. Then we get to school, where they're doing some mythological storytelling, and the kids playing with the blocks. It's like, it's not sculpture time anymore. Pick up your mythology book and come along with us. He's, let the kid do his thing. Seriously, he's still listening. Like, he's right there.
Is he though?
Not like he's in.
I don't think he's listening. Now, I was quite impressed though that the Strange New Worlds uniforms came in so much earlier than I thought. Look at what this guy's wearing.
Yeah, I thought for a second it had like little deltas over it.
I mean, it's also that level of bright. That's like the security guys in Strange New Worlds. It's pretty close vibe-wise. I was quite shocked.
Yeah, it's teacher gear.
Yeah, you have stand issue, bright red pattern with grooves on his chest, and I don't know.
I'm going to take this opportunity to say we have 50 people watching and 31 likes. Hit that like button, guys. Get up to 50. We haven't had any super chats yet today. We want to hear your thoughts on this episode. If you know any facts about it, anything like that, by all means, super chat in. We want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So
yeah, and if there's not an interest in these reviews, we just won't do them anymore. That's the problem. This
is a shit episode, though.
Yeah.
Show up for the good episodes.
Yeah, still need the super chats, those, Joe. Still need them. But it's always good to see the school, because that you'll never, you're often in the crow's nest of the crew, but there are people just living their lives, learning. Think of all those attacks that happen often. Think of all those Borg missions where they get attacked, and there are kids huddling in the school library. Ugh. Yes, Picard's changed for some reason.
He's the director.
He's the director.
Here they find out that due to the structural failure of the ship, it seems like the attack would have had to occur in less than 3,000 kilometers if it was attacked by another ship. And then, yes, could it be the Breen? And they go on about the Breen for a little bit, and I wrote down Breen first reference, ? I believe this is the first reference of the Breen, but
I don't remember it ever before. Because they mention a lot of things. I feel like DS9 would have said, let's refer back to... And they probably said, the Breen have helmets. We need people with helmets. Let's go back and pull them from the... Because we're not that far from DS9 starting. Not that the Breen are in DS9 early, but we're pretty close to... DS9's next year? As in...
Yeah.
Because Rose...
The Breen don't show... Yeah, and the Breen don't show up until, like, season, 6?
No, but they're not far from starting the DS9 journey.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if they put some races in their back pocket of, who can we mention? Oh, Botany Base shirt. Or you got a thing behind your head. That's
the Mariposa.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a classic. That is. Nice.
Verpine though throws in $5 with no comment. Thank you so much.
There you go.
But yeah, again, I love the graphics of the Oberth with the they're doing a structural scan of the components.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the simplicity of these. Nothing else really moves except some buttons, except the one big giant screen of added in post. It's great.
Yeah. Yes, Dan, that's why he has the different uniform, because William Shatner got more than one uniform as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Picard has this different.
I just think it looks really bad in it, personally. And you love it.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. It looks a bit messy to me. But yeah, then he says things, and it doesn't necessarily connect with the kid, but we need to. He's the only eyewitness. We need to know what he thinks. but maybe Data working with him would help. And Q it now being a Data story, because it was kind of all over the place currently, but now it'll be focused. Boy, I definitely remember the scene, the putting the blocks on the thing. That seared into my child mind of this darn thing. I wonder where this prop is, Stuart. I wonder where this is.
I don't know.
What Chrissy's Ultras is holding.
I always remember this too because it's so stupid to put the 3 large pillars on top of or underneath the other one, and it's like, but that's how the display with the picture in the back of the classroom is. That's how, yeah, you see 2 shots of this temple in this episode, and that's how it is. So I mean, hey, it seemed weird to me.
I don't understand why for a second he thinks holding the thing on top of them and then trying to find more is a smart... Like, he's not a smart kid, right?
He wasn't. He had it, and he was reaching for the other piece to prop up the other side.
Exactly.
And pulled the other part
The
over.
idiot way of doing it. You don't. You just take it. But like, he was doing it the stupid way. I know he's PTSD, but he's not a smart kid. He's not going to go up to being Starfleet. He's not... He's underdeveloped. That bloody ship he's on... They were not sciencing science. They would do partying.
He's adopted.
Well, he is in this episode. But Data's quite sweet here. I like Brent's micro gestures, his little twit ticks. I think he's adding a few more of them so that we notice them more, so that we notice the kid copying them. Because if Data was very subtle, you couldn't pull from that. So I liked a lot of the Brent choices here. I thought they were good.
I love how the kid throws a temper tantrum too. Cause it's like,
I mean, yeah.
Did you want a real evaluation of what you're doing? Okay, well, it's kind of shit. Fine, I can't do anything. It's like, well, I'm just talking about this particular model.
No,
but anyway.
It's very, very Data.
He gets called away again by Geordi, and before he leaves, he decides to turn around and go into Superman mode. So,
what's funny is that I took that the first time as he took away the kid's fun because he did it for him. Like, the fun is the building, right? But it's also thematically, it's he can't pull his life together. So this now the start of him pulling his life together. Now it's been it was a good thematic, and it was fun to see. And you can imagine Brent just taking 15 minutes just to do this carefully. It fell down. Take 2. God no, take 3. And then finally they speed up and it takes 3 seconds. Oh, and the way bloody... I mean, I'm glad you caught the frame. Bloody Brent is like, oh, thanks, Data. He's like, boy, the emotion in his eyes. My God, he's emotive.
Yeah.
And you caught it. That was Brent on full emotional out there. My goodness.
Yes, sir.
But it was satisfying, though. It was fun to see.
Then the kid goes and looks in the mirror and starts doing emulating the android, so...
Yeah. Oh, I love Data the Wave. That's nice. Little things.
Oh, Dan checked and said the Breen were actually mentioned in TNG Season 4 of The Lost. Data says to Deanna Troi, there are many races that are not empathically detectable. The Breen, the Ferengi. Gotcha. Perfect.
Excellent.
This is the second reference to the Breen. Thanks, Dan. Yes, then we get all the data they've collected about the Graviton wave fronts that have been are in the area that's caused this. Well, that might have caused this. That's what the ship was investigating. It's a science ship, and they make a point of saying that now the Enterprise can do that and push through them like the science vessel could, because they've modified its modifications. Yeah, Captain Picard is not really present in this episode. He seems to be, but you can tell that Patrick Stewart is having a problem directing himself. Something seems really off with it, and it could just be that we're just getting back into TNG, but I don't think that's the case.
But that's a really, really good point, because of course when I direct somebody, I'm going to see a performance and help them hone it. If you are a performance, there is no one above you saying, try it again, Pat. And you can't and they didn't have instant playback yet. So, like, maybe he asked his assistant director, was that good? But you were going to tell the lead of the show, no, it was shit, do it again. Or can you try a bit of emotion? So, whereas, like, Frakes, he takes himself out of the episodes primarily. I mean, Patrick isn't in it very much, but it's hard to take out a captain from a show when you need authority to give orders, etc. But yeah, he's definitely not great. I just felt sorry for Michael Dorn's Worf. even his arm, like his arms are on it on the table, as if he's bored. Right? There's a certain physical language, like I've been here for 3 hours. I have 2 things to say, and he says them fine. Good for him, professional. But you wonder why some of them were like, was I that good in the show? I only gave like 20 good episodes out of 200 because I was barely in 20, barely in 100 of them. But they always try, right?
Worf's also not super great in this episode.
He's in this
So,
episode?
I don't know what's up? Yeah, exactly.
But you need to have the setup of who the kid is and him being the data, and then there's a lot of stuff to pack in, plus the science stuff. It's too packed. It's too packed of side elements.
Mm.
But yes, now he's made his own uniform, which is cute, and also a door that isn't got a red sticker on it. It's a blue sticker.
Because it's guest accommodation.
I know. I thought it was interesting. And boy, that kid got the top level of accommodation, because as someone who's having the whole Enterprise D rebuilt, I've worked out who's. That's the captain's quarters for the most part.
Yeah, those are the bigger quarters because they got the bigger hallway and stuff as well. Yeah.
That's the biggest set they have, and the little kid gets it. Because there are smaller rooms. That's why I always like...
Traumatized, lost his parents, give him a big room. Come on.
That's why I always like on Voyager when they show us Kim's quarters. It's a little box room with no window. I love it. Because Ensign, right? He has no space. Everyone else gets giant, lovely windows. Box room, no windows. Clarinet, no windows. So good for him.
And this is where she says, too, you sound like Data. Because he said, I'm operating within...
Hi, Aaron. Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Then we get 10 forward. Which I don't need to eat. I do like to taste things, because I want that thing. Which is just ice cream. But hey.
I mean, if you can order ice cream, man.
Right?
No, yeah.
Exactly what he orders, but it's got a cool name.
And it's again, it's sort of by the numbers. There's not much added to the scene. They're both sort of trying okay, but there's no spark of, I don't know if I don't know how you could have made it more interesting. Deepen the emotional trauma. Like maybe he sees people. Oh, can you imagine if he kept seeing his mum's like broken face walking the corridors around him because he can't get the image out of his head, and then he has to shut into data mode. Like you see the horror and then cuts right back. That would have been a fun juxtaposition. But it's just kind of like, oh, he's being Data. Okay, it's not deep. It's missing that something.
Well, she says here too, how long have you been an android? This is a new development. It's like, well, we've been an android. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of in improv. You don't say yes or no. You say yes and. It's like the script saying, so how do you feel? Good. Like, where do you go with the scene if all you're giving is, I'm an android? Like, right. Give me something there, android. You precious little androids.
Then we get Picard saying an android. And he's emulating Data because Data saved him, and Data's emotionless. This kid doesn't want to experience the fear or anything anymore, so this is a good form of therapy for the time being. He's eventually going to fall out of it. And then Picard's like, Mr. Data, make him the best android he can be.
It's a weird direction. Because it's not really therapy. It's let him be delusional for a bit. Let him live in.
It's standard for this kind of thing. Right after a traumatic event. This is actual.
But doesn't it create like split personalities and
no,
pulling away from reality?
It's a coping mechanism for the time being, so the kid doesn't totally break down and stop talking and just close into himself.
I wish they'd handled it better. How they explained to, it just seems very lightly handled. Again, we're not getting to the depth of it really. It's just like, oh, he's praying to be an android. Cool, let him. It's like, okay. I guess it's only over the course of a day, which kind of helps. It feels very fast when you watch the whole thing.
Yeah, there's no real sense of time, really. I would say a few days, but it also seems like a few hours.
Yeah.
So.
But good for Data. I mean, he's got important stuff to do on the ship, and this is a very low... I mean, people's doing... Well, actually, he's not dealing with people, android person. But ostensibly, the order is, let's help him be an android. Like, don't treat him like a person. actively. It's a fun dichotomy of how does he then, if we're getting to the sleeping joke. And I do think this gag with the moving the head is rather clever, and it's a long one take. And I always love a one take because there's so many little nuances of comedic acting. Because I would imagine that they said to the kid, "Go as long as you can until he'll grab you." In a way, we won't tell you how. Like, just everyone react, right? It could have been 5 seconds shorter. It could have been 10 seconds longer. There's a flow here that feels very natural. Even Brent, who like has a posture, he's like trying to like. He moves very Brenty because he has to, because he's like, this is a weird thing. I like the framing here. It's very well done.
The thing that bothers me about this is Data checks the mirror like 3 times at least to check his hair. I think you're Data, man. Your hair is never different. You can remember what you look like.
Yeah.
But it's fine. That's where the kid asks him if he's ever been scared or what's the worst thing that's ever happened to him, and he basically says, I don't get scared. I don't have feelings. So,
it's and I appreciate that he, and then the kid isn't. Now this is scene number 2 of him being an android. Already he's breaking. He's I want to confide in, but it's kind of, I guess, representing that if he's going to be into this, push him to the point it doesn't feel like a good idea. Because Data, sort of tries to talk to him, but pushing away at the same time because he doesn't really understand. But then when the food and emotions come in, they don't want to be human because human is where the fun is, good and bad.
But then gets checked out by Dr. Crusher, who says that everything is in operational parameters.
Again, it's cringe. It's nice cringe. Yeah. It's so weird. And you can tell.
Like button.
Oh, yes, please do.
We're still at 50 likes. We have
What?
7 people watching. Right?
What?
And Super Chat in. We want to hear your thoughts on this episode. Any facts? Does this kid grow up to be somebody, a good actor? I don't know. Let us know.
I love how Beverly doesn't really approve. She's like, It's gentle, but it's nice. The painting I thought was a clever moment, although I don't know what the thing is meant to be. I guess it's abstract. I kind of assumed this was the anomaly that hurt them and would see this red gash thing later. I assumed that'd be
an explosion or something.
Yeah, I got it's good. It's good as abstract, but I thought this would have been the direct thing we see and be this powerful moment of, but it's not.
And there's no way a kid did that.
No,
but
no,
also,
Stuart.
He's
an android.
Yes, that's true.
For the scene.
This is the most dynamic shot of the show, where they kind of pan around behind. And you also see Data's Sherlock Holmes cloak and hat on the clothes tree there, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, and his vase,
before?
the painting thing, the thing that was given to him as a present by the lady.
That is girlfriend.
Yeah, that's nice. And actually, you know what? That thing Data's painting kind of looks like Picard's vineyard.
That's exactly what I thought too. Yeah.
That's weird. I'm going to be a vision here in 30 years, kid. What? Nothing. They're going to try to de-age me. It's going to look not great. Oh, this is one take as well, isn't it? Is this one take? Yeah. How long is this one take? No, okay, it's not that long.
Yeah. But the kid's tired, and I don't. My mouth approximates the same thing that the Data said to him in the last scene about his neck. Data tries to yawn, and he's like, "Oh, so close." And then the neck starts going on about something, and the kid falls asleep. So
that was pretty cute as well. I like.
It's not Brent Spiner that picks the kid up either. But
what?
It's not Brent Spiner that picks him up.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's a stunt.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to hurt somebody's back.
It's a cute little scene, though, I think. Because it's fun to see Brent give those half seconds of Data trying to work out what is the thing. Is there a social cue here? Is there a logical thing? Which direction do I go in my many characters? Oh, this way, okay. But it's sweet because when you pick something that's very human, it feels more like a payoff. So I thought that was rather sweet. And yeah, falling asleep is nice.
Jason, I believe Data might have an infinite power source. I don't think he needs to recharge and plug in ever. Probably induction charging whenever he's on the ship. Just like Same with the communicators. They kind of draw power from the ship.
Well, you think it would also be... It's like a car. The wheels turning charges the internal battery. You'd think that data... There'd be a continuing circuit of electricity.
Yeah. That's why he just occasionally runs around.
Yeah.
Just does laps on.
But then Worf gets dialogue. Moving on from that.
Oh yes, just about the gravitational waveforms. So they put the shields up to 37% to start with.
Yeah, it's procedural, but it's not that engaging. And then we move on, right? This is just...
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. This is where Worf is detecting ships. He detects the ship, and then it moves over to the other side, and then back. It turns out it's just reflections. There's echoes of the Enterprise on the wavefronts. It's just basically reflections of the Enterprise. Because at this point, you're supposed to still be thinking that there might have been a ship that attacked. So
a cloaked ship as well. They have a great liner.
Yeah.
No, go for it.
Comes up in a second actually, because Picard does his test with the phasers at low power, and he says, "Would that same thing happen to a disruptor?" It's like, yes.
That's a great
And
little...
also, yeah, to be cloaked would be very difficult in this anomaly. So
yeah, that was pretty... That was good logic.
Yeah. We get more of the school conversation.
Well, it's that very smiling. It's that he thinks already we're moving past the data coping mechanism, which is nice. It works well. The neon green and God, imagine being a kid on Star Trek. Imagine if that's the one acting gig you did. I was on.
Go to the ugly sweater rack. Look at all Wesley's sweaters.
But you know what I mean? If you I was a kid on Enterprise D. That's what I mean. That's an amazing concept. But of course they had to be. What if they even appreciated it? Probably not.
Well, we made the assumption too that maybe Mariner was a kid on the Enterprise D.
That's true.
All the ships she's been on.
That is true.
So.
Well, maybe that's her on the right, Stuart. We don't know.
Oh. That would be great.
Yeah, and then yeah. But yeah, still need data. Data's the lad. I definitely like this scene as well. Because I was wondering, are they really drinking? Because I feel like the direction would be let's not fill up on take 9, guys. Let's just fake it as much as you can, but let's keep it going as long as we can. Because I was watching thinking, are they actually drinking anything? Because he's like
Brent did.
Yeah, when I moved past, I can see they are, but it felt like this is a very long. They're cheeking it, aren't they? They're not really doing it.
Yeah. This was talking about I can't taste things.
So many desserts. Always desserts for kids. Look at that. That's lovely.
You can approximate how humans would, enjoy it. But I'd much rather give up. This is the whole. Would you give this up to? Feel like I'd rather feel bad, and be able to taste something than not feel anything at all. So yeah, they've already that last conversation with. Maybe you should tell him the reasons that you would like to be human, to kind of get him out of being an android thing. Because you give up anything to be human.
And what's nice, this scene now plays better because of Picard becoming human.
I will never be human. Yeah, he actually says, "I will never be human." I'm like, kind of will be.
Because the previous seasons of Picard hurt the show with thinking, wow, he went and be a depressive man. Wow, he died and was a coward, like with Luke, etc. Here it's like, you go, girl. You got this, right? It's nice, it's sweet. But it's interesting though, because you don't often get this broken down logic of what he really can and can't do. And he tries, I think, eloquently to express he does understand the potential chemical positivity to be able to say that's good. Like if he was in social, if he was with the girlfriend, that scene where he's really acting, he'd be like, that tastes delicious, doll, because he would know it probably does. He would act that way, but he does. There is ways of understanding probable tastes, but when he uncompress the logic, I can see. I love the kids oh shit, I like your food.
I like how he said too. I would love to have the anticipation, my mouth watering for a good confection. It's yeah.
What weird phrasing though.
My mouth waters for a burger, not for a confection. Confection, I think it's candy. I don't really have a mouth watering sensation for candy. Mouth watering.
I took confection, but more as like a baked good, like a sweet baked good. How I would think confection.
Could be, but.
But I love the little cakes they have. I wonder if anyone actually. I wonder if there's a real food that someone ate after this scene.
Probably.
Who ate this? Right? I don't know.
They got it off the craft services table. Eric Martin throws in $5.50.
There you go.
Get us depressed. If you have a holodeck, do something interesting. Skiing, rock climbing, etc. Flotter. Goddamn flotter.
Well, he hasn't been invented yet. That's such a good point. That, or in such an obvious, which they do that with Picard and his fake son, the rock climbing.
Yeah.
But, you could take him anywhere. Imagine a Disneyland in this episode. This kid is cheering up. Disneyland! And then there's footage of Brent Spiner in full makeup walking through Disneyland with his kid. It's like, that was a weird shoot day. That'd been great. But Matthew said they have said several times that they often only need 1 or 2 takes because then it was more they did. Back then it was more, did they get through lines that look decent, good to go.
Well, we're doing 26 episodes a season instead of 10, so I guess. They also worked 12, 14, 16 hours sometimes. We've heard those
often.
Stories. It's like you just want to go home, but you got to get everything done.
Which is great.
When somebody starts screwing up again and again and again, other people get mad at them.
Yeah.
It's like, you're extending my work day. Get it right. It should be a lot of pressure, man.
And in Brent's interview with the Shuttlepod crew, I never heard him talk about it before, he said that he had a rule on TNG, which was he has to be able to say all of his dialogue the night before without needing the script once. Once he got it once, he can go to sleep. But he couldn't sleep until he did it. And obviously episodes where he's a lead, ton of dialogue. And if he's been filming for 16 hours that day on last week's episode, and then because they rolled in, right? If you were big in one episode, and then day one of the next episode is another big you day, that might be 4 pages of dialogue for the next day, and he couldn't go to sleep. So several days he'd get back at like 9, 10 p.m. at night, have dinner, go back to lines until 2, 3, 4 a.m. when he could learn them, and then wake up again to then do makeup, and then it was wrecked all day because he had to, right? Like you say, they had to just get through the stuff. He expressed a thing where he was doing 2 episodes back to back that they said, "Can you just do another episode where you're the lead?" And he was like, I think he did do it, even though he hated himself because it was so taxing.
Think of the episodes where he had to play himself, Lore, and his dad. Like,
but that's a week of shooting though. That's a little bit different because you are playing everything, but you are only doing.
Yeah.
And also rehearsal will be quicker because it's just you.
Yeah.
And then you never really get the sense they don't know their dialogue. That's the commending them for these long days. They can still present in a totally their way, except Patrick's is directing. But that's that's different.
Yeah. The next shot, we see the shields on. We see the shield bubble around the ship as it's going through these things, which I love seeing that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And the wave fields are increasing and like causing more buffeting to the ship. They keep upping their shield upping the shield power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is where Picard does a little test with the phasers.
Yeah.
Action.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
That was fun. I like how this wave is sort of the effect I use in my fan films. This sort of blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It was so close to what I did for the last film I just released. It was great. Yeah. Although I don't know about you, but when I saw them fire the phasers, again I knew this wasn't it, but I thought to myself, is this a Tholian Web episode? Are they shooting and the webs hitting and fracturing? Because it looks very similar.
It does, yeah.
Visually. Because I was thinking, well, who attacked them? Tholians would be a nice reveal. I don't know the episodes that well, the ones I've rarely seen, like this one. So I was left intrigued, or with an intrigue there. I wonder if Patrick actually sat down and like helped these CG shots get made. I wonder if he was directing this as well. Or they just
I don't know.
Because is he the one that's saying, can I have the? Because this shot's kind of interesting because it does take a long time to go. Like it takes its sweet time. Is he the one saying make it 10 seconds longer? Right? I would love to know what
We don't have enough to dialogue in the script. Make this scene.
Because it's a really nice lingering shot. You see it all work. It's you know, yeah. But anyway, then the big boy pants come out. We must get to the answers. Cause no,
The line must be drawn here. No further.
there can't be a firefight in this area, which I like the reveal of. I thought that was well done. That was a nice, like, what's really going on.
Mm. We were attacked. We were attacked. Like, it couldn't have been. It's impossible. Androids don't lie.
Yes.
And then he's like, I did it. I killed everybody.
Didn't expect that, though. That I thought, that I was like, what? I was quite surprised.
Kid lost his balance because of the wave fronts hitting the ship. And
yeah.
put his arm on a console. And coincidentally, that's the exact same second that...
Well, I mean, it was a wave. So, of course, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you remember the story of this episode enough to know what was and wasn't happening?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I didn't. I was still intrigued and enjoying it as we went.
A to B straight line story. There's no real twists or turns in it for me.
But unless you don't know, then of course it felt like a twist or turn to me.
Yeah.
But I unfortunately I was left to think, oh, how did he kill the ship? Because Zero was able to fire, not Zero, Murph was able to fire phasers. Safety protocols didn't exist there, and also in the holodeck, bloody Dahl managed to kill the Enterprise D with a phone torpedo that he put his butt on. So I was like, well, he could have killed the ship.
Put his foot on the console. I think
yeah. And I'm obviously semi-joking, but it's played here like, oh, it can't happen. Future Trek, hold my beer. It's going to be entire plot points. But it's a good idea, though. Although, I also like the idea that the kid is not in the know, because he wouldn't be allowed to be in a place with consoles that could do that important a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I wish that was said.
He was somewhere where he overheard all warp power to shield. So he's either in engineering.
It's a very small ship, though.
Yeah, but when you saw where they were, they had an MSD on the wall of the ship. He was just in.
Well, he said the computer core. That's the way it was in that scene.
So
I don't
know why specifically he would have heard that, but
no, they don't. They blow past it. But I liked the idea of saying of like Picard saying, well, which room are you in? This room, and Data's like, that room has no access to any ship systems of any kind. What? Small thing, but I think the kid plays it well. And now the waves are getting worse. Actors, act more! More! Keep going, guys! Keep up the scenes! Keep getting...
Even the helm officer, I forget if it was specifically what she said, but she said something that the kid looks over like he's heard that before. They tie that in pretty well, actually.
Yeah. And she's in a couple of these. I definitely remember her.
Yeah.
I will say, though, 2 lines she does well. The last line she gives terrible reading. I think it's this line. She's really bad. She's too calm in a discombobulated way. Like she doesn't care.
This was on the 13th hour of filming.
Yeah. But there's something to be said for, I mean, they've trained for this, right? Oh, and also, that woman's not in her early 20s, is she?
No, she's like early 30s.
Maybe. Early 30s, yeah. Like, and she's an ensign. It's fine. In fact, you don't really ever see like early 20s ensigns often actually on TNG. Like in this sort of like they're in front of camera actually. Or she smoked and she was 21 and she looks 32.
Perfect.
That's always a thing to think about.
Data says though, come with me. We're gonna go back to do some sciencing.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed the back of the kid's top is the same construction as the... I can notice the fake pull-down elastic, but it's even got the line. That's clever.
Yeah. And here they're talking back and forth to engineering, saying, that wave almost got us. We need to increase the shield power. Well, the only way we can do it...
I'm giving all she's got, Captain!
There you go. Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way to do it is draw power directly from the warp core to the shielding. So Ooh, Cat Boots is here. $2. More shields. More shields. And Data's Gut throws in $2. I say drop the shields. This is actually funny because when you play Star Trek Bridge Crew, there are anomalies that start coming at your ship, and you have to wait till you get sensor readings because either you have to turn off everything or power everything up to full. So if you have your phasers and stuff armed, and you get the reading that you need to power down, you need to deactivate your phasers, turn off your shields, so that when a wave hits you, it causes no damage. Or the other way, if you need to like power everything right up, so that again. So it's kind of interesting that this thing was probably taken from this episode, that element of the game, because it happens in quite a few missions.
Yeah, there's a obvious logic of EMPs. You need to turn things off to not let them be fried, etc. I'm just going to be back in 1 second, Stuart. I'll just get into a frame. Okay. Or it's the same sort of thematics, but I'm getting an action frame. There you go. Action. Oh, action.
Action. All right, guys. While he's gone, by all means, hit that like button. We have 54 likes. We want more likes. If you haven't hit like yet, hit like. Super chat if you're able to. Would really appreciate that. And yeah, we want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, suggestions, facts, trivia. Anything else you want to talk about? We'll talk about whatever you super chat, because we do read all of them. So please do so. Data could have quickly explained what was happening to the captain instead of just fake dropping the shields. It was a weird scene, to be honest. Yes, I agree. I thought the same thing. And I love too when he says, drop the shields. That's suicide Data. Drop the shields. And he gives the serious eyes. And Picard's like, all right, yeah, do that thing. I kind of like that, because you listen to the smartest guy in the room. It's usually a good tactic.
Yeah, as I've said many a time in rewatching these, the amount of times the crew are seconds from death, everyone is calm, everyone's sitting down. The guy in the back who's working on Science 3, he's not yelling that he's about to die in 5 seconds. They're just doing their job and they're trusting in the system. So when everything in their training says, A, we're going to die now because the shields are broke, like there's no chance of surviving. They've said that, right?
Yeah.
Then no one's suggesting a plan. No one's even trying, right? For what they know. So they're going to die. There's nothing they can do. And then to say, let's double die. We've got 10 seconds. There's a certain logic of do the opposite because nothing else to lose, right? But the fact they trust Data, that's so important. Because it's pretty instant once the reaction happens that they just do it. But how could you explain what's wrong in 7 seconds, 10 seconds? Probably not.
Yeah, I think I could. Captain. I don't know. I would figure something out.
But it's good. I just wish I wish we didn't keep cutting back to the data on the screen. It doesn't say anything. And so every time we're like, what's this? Nothing. Back to data. We're reiterating that. I wish there was something here to kind of add a visual intrigue.
The only thing that works is at the end it all lines up and the things flash.
Sure.
And that's when he's like, he gets up.
Yeah.
He's been, But I know what you mean, but it's all like so technical that it's like.
Yeah, there's no thought put in. I needed to see like a bubble and then harmonics and then a sense of like. It does not help the situation get better. It just makes you think, oh, they're doing a thing, right?
There's science in
it. There exactly. And then the satisfaction of we're fine, and the fact the boys just. It's great. Data, save the ship again. In unison as this team. I love it. And the way they sit down together, it's like, thank you, Data.
And nobody says anything to the kid like, good job, kid.
Kind of you're still here, are you?
Just like, all right, we're sitting down. Yeah.
It's so true. I know he doesn't like kids, but good job, young man. I mean, Riker at least. He would have given like a smart half. Yeah. Oh.
Or like a smile and a nod kind of thing.
Yeah, they're two in sync. Picard and Riker. They should have been that Rikerism. Yeah. See, you have to think that as a director, wouldn't you? Oh, and then
It's weird that this Patrick Stewart that directed this one. It's like you'd think he would have the dynamic of Picard and Riker by season 5. You know.
But I think he's focused on telling a good story.
I also think he's over focusing on things and not wanting to have his character come across as like super stoic. Because like when you're directing yourself, you don't want to be like, you know, the best thing ever. I don't know. I think he's just overthinking it.
Yeah, and then you get this odd, instant sort of tone reversal. It's like, oh, we can leave now. Okay, leave then. Oh, yeah. It's underwhelming. I'll say that.
And then we get row your boat, but no beans and bourbon. I was disappointed.
Where's the marshmallows? Another cringe, obviously. And boy, that kid's blonde. Jesus. He's distractingly blonde.
That's how blonde I was as a kid. My nickname was the Golden Goose because my hair was that blonde. I was always out in the sun. I was always in the swimming pool. I had sun-bleached hair.
Oh, I love it.
I was that blonde.
Was that you? Is that what you're saying? Is this coming out? Okay.
I would have been 14. Well, actually, at this point, I would have been like 18, 19. This far into the show. I think it was like 13 when the show started.
And again, cringe of singing. I never like singing in TV. It just always just... Ugh.
And Dan, I think that's because it's the same shot. For the Enterprise turning, it's like...
Yeah.
They reused one of the shots.
Which amazes me that it's lit radically different. Because they haven't gone in and added a separate blue fill to the composite that they couldn't refilm. But that's because they do things in layers. The fill light, the key light's all separate, so they could then in theory tint it in the compute. Well, not the computer, but tint the pass, and then it's very clever because it works pretty well considering it's not meant to be blue. Like you don't necessarily think about it too much.
Then we get Troy asking Data, does this bother you? The fact that he's like stepping away from being like you? He's like, no. I have no feelings on the matter, so...
I didn't get the same Fajo moment though, where it's like, no, I don't want to murder you. I was like, does he care? Yes, no? It wasn't so distinct, I didn't think. It would have been nice if there was distinct, like Isaac in Orville, like your presence has diminished me. It would have been nice if I didn't get that feeling. But that's probably what Worf said when he had his kid, the first one. I felt nothing. He must leave now.
Then he goes and asks the kid how he's doing. He's like, I miss my parents.
Yeah.
Can we still hang out and do things together? Because that'd be awesome.
Yes, until you're moved off ship because you're not assigned here. You have no children. Babe, you're going to be on here for like 2 days. Near Starbase, you're off.
Yep. But a nice big smile from the kid at the end, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sweet enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, bruh. That's it.
Oh, goodness. Right, there we go. It's straightforward.
So, as you guys know, this is the time where you guys super chat in, important, with your final scores out of 10 and any thoughts you may have that you'd like to close out with, while we give our wrap-up reviews and scores and overall thoughts on the matter.
Yes.
So, super chat in. I'll read all those. Or if you want to just put in the regular chat, your score out of 10.
Yes.
Samuel will read those. And yeah, this wasn't a great one to jump back into because there's really not a lot of meat on the bones of this episode, really, to talk about. So it's just kind of a one for me. So, but anyhow.
Let us know, guys. But I'll finish the poll and ask another poll briefly. Do you think TNG is the best overall Trek series? Yes! 55%. DS9 is clearly better. 25%. 12% no. 8% TOS. I left it out there as a DS9 could have rolled with it, and I'm glad it didn't, because it's not. Do a brief another poll.
Yes. while he's doing that, hit that like button, guys, if you haven't. And we are looking forward to your scores. So very light on super chats this one. That's fine. But if you guys can throw in anything right now, would be the time to do it. And don't forget, on Thursday we'll be coming back for the next episode of episode 11, which is called Violations, or episode 12, sorry, which is called Violations.
Yes.
Which we will be reviewing on Thursday.
Our aim is to do 2 a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. Does depend on support, obviously, because if you guys are uninterested, then we can't do them. So hopefully come back and join in. But I've had fun talking about it. It's nice to immortalize our opinions on this.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be weird to get back into the headspace of scoring, but I think I have a score in mind for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a yeah, because obviously one of the criteria is out of Season 5, which of course had Redemption Part 2, Darmok, Ensign Rose, Silicon Avatar, Disaster, The Game, Unifications Parts 1 and 2. Yes, seriously, this was the Unification season. Matter of Time, New Ground, Hero Worship. So actually some pretty distinct ones in this season. I'll say this again so you can actually take them in. Redemption Part 2, Darmok, Ensign Row, Silicon Avatar, which is the one they destroy Crystal Entity, I believe, Disaster, The Game, Unifications Parts 1 and 2, Matter of Time, which is the great one with Max Headroom, that's his name, and then New Ground, and then this one. So actually some pretty strong ones this season.
Yes.
So Stuart, what would you get? Well, final thoughts, and has your opinion changed since we've debated it? Because of course we've gone into more detail than the initial discussion.
It might have changed a little bit, kind of taking into account all of the things that the chat's been saying the whole time. There is some good stuff here for sure for Data. Something about it though. There's just this cloak of weirdness about this episode, and it's never really struck me as a great episode. And I always get it confused in my mind with Jeremy Astor episode because these kids kind of look alike, and I know that one was like season 1 or 2, but a lot of times just when I'm thinking about the kids episodes, I'm not sure which kid is which sometimes. Anyhow. Wow. I don't know if this was Patrick Stewart's first directing assignment, but it feels like one of his first jobs being a director. It just seems off. I wish there was more from the other characters to help out the plot, but I mean, the science stuff is interesting enough. I love seeing the destroyed Oberth class. That was really nice. Poor Oberth, rest in peace. And I mean, the gravitational waves turn everything off, like the exact opposite of what you'd think you would do. That happens a few times in Trek. And I think it plays out fairly well here. The whole mystery of was there a ship? Yeah.
I kind of wish there was a ship, though. That would have been kind of cool if there was a ship.
Yeah. Anyway, oh my goodness. I think the kid did a fine enough job acting, but yes, as you said, there's some cringe in this episode. Again, that could be due to direction, or it could just be because of the writing. I don't know.
Although not to stop you too much, if you're about Jason's comment briefly, because I think it's an important one to throw out there.
I have rewatched season 1, and I don't think it's that bad. I really wish Pulaski stayed for more seasons. We agree, Jason. Everybody shits on season 1, and we're like, we actually reviewed the whole thing, and it's way better than we remember. People just throw on that cloak if it doesn't get good till season 3, so season 1 and 2 suck.
Yeah, season 1 is okay with some good, and a little bit of bad.
Yeah.
Not a great, but a good amount of good.
Yeah.
There's actually not that much bad in it.
So anyway, the kid did a fine job. I think Data did a good job as well. He would make a good counselor, I think. He did pretty good with this kid. And
what was your favourite moment, if you had to pick one?
When they were in 10 forward, drinking the milkshakes or the drinks. I think talking about Data's desire to be human, kind of the kid coming to the realization that it was kind of cool to be human.
Yeah, I think I'll join you in that. Actually, I think that was interesting in a new way. That added something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Score them, all TNG and for this season, which, as I said, has some pretty heavy hitters anyway.
For all TNG, this is going to get a... I froze there for a second. For all of TNG, I'm going to give this one a 6.2.
Okay, so better than average.
Yes.
Okay.
For the season,
Would you like to know some scores you've given the season for context in no particular order?
sure, yeah, that would be helpful.
You've given a 5.8, a 9, a 6.5.
5.84.
What? Do you actually want to know?
Yes.
Let me go through them first so you get a sense and you can ask. You're given a 7, 6.5, 5.5, 8, 7.5, 7, 6.5, 9, and 5.8. So there's not been high. You've only had 1 in the 9, 1 in the 8, a few 7s, and a few 5s. So it's actually been yeah.
So what was my lowest scored one? What was the episode?
Silicon Avatar at 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. But we must trust ourselves, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Let me double check. No, there is that one. Why would that one so low?
It's been shit for some reason.
I remember liking it, but clearly I didn't.
Go back and watch our review.
I know. Yeah.
And that was what score? Sorry.
5. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so wait a minute. Silicon Avatar. That's not. Is that the one with the crystalline entity?
Yeah, the lady. Yeah, the lady who.
I remember hating the lady.
Maybe that. Sure. Yeah. Well, I gave it a 4. I guess.
That's really odd for you.
Yeah, no.
All right. All right. Well, based on that, I'll give this one a 5.2. Sure.
I know. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
We have to rewatch that one day. Why did we like it so little?
Right.
For me, it is a tricky one. It's an episode that is too safe, but themes could have hard-hitting consequences. It doesn't go there. Brent's good, but not amazing. He's actually, I think, underdoing the material, or his material isn't as sharp as it could be for him. But then again, it is around mental health issues, so they can't push it too far. And a kid actor, again, can't push too far. So there's obviously reasons for the vibe. But I certainly wish it went a bit more, etc. The kid's fine, he gets better, significantly better, I think, as it goes on, which is great for him. But there's too much procedural. I would have cut that down by a third and given more depth to everything else. Maybe a scene with Troy giving some nice meat. Maybe like she has to go into his brain slightly or whatnot. I kind of remember a scene which obviously didn't happen where he bleeds and Data's like, oh, you bleed, how weird. Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? I thought, like, I'm not really an android. Look, bleeding. It's like, yeah, I know, you're you, right? But it's okay. I don't think I enjoyed it particularly, but I didn't disenjoy it. I just think it's too longly drawn out for what it is, without the extra oomph.
It was just a weird return to this, considering we just watched Picard, watched all this other dark track, like Discovery, Picard seasons 1 and 2, and coming back to this, I expected like TNG right back to but this one just felt a little off. Like I said, it just felt off the whole time.
Well, it certainly makes me appreciate Patrick's his acting in Picard season 3. Like, he acted way better in that than this, but obviously his voice was so nice to hear being strong again. Like, that's how he sounded, because it's like, commanding, etc. Score-wise, I think this is below average for TNG, because average is rather good for TNG. I think it's not super far below average, but it's because the potential of the story was much greater than what it gave you, and also it wasn't very interesting with its shot choices. So for all of TNG, I'm going to give it a solid 4. But a lot of that because of potential. I could probably negotiate like a 4.5, but I'll stick at 4 for now and see back in the other days. This season, I mean, looking at the scores, it's I would have thought it would be better than Silicon Avatar, but past me disagreed apparently, so I've got to take his opinion into account. But it's probably one of the worst of the season so far. No, it is one of the worst of the season so far. But not because it's bad, it's just less great. So I'm gonna give it a 5 for the season. But overall, there are significantly better and worse episodes than this. So 5 and a 4. Yeah. Interesting.
Perfect.
Very interesting. Right, what do you guys think?
Let's see what people are saying. We got Mark Lawrence with $5.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Mark. 6.5 out of 10 for me. I don't skip it on rewatches. Oh, and maybe a reminder of the current GoFundMe.
Yes, guys.
We'll do that at the end.
Yeah, I was like, it's not the right time to be. Yes.
And Megan Bruns, who's been a member for 11 months at the rank of ensign. Good to see you, Megan. This episode isn't great. It's not bad. It's just okay-ish. Yeah, that's a good summation. Middle of the road for sure. Well, lower middle. I mean, upper middle, lower middle, upper lower.
It's Dex 5.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for super chat scores, unfortunately. But
I know.
Yeah. What are other people saying?
Well, you fine folk think. Are you ready? I am ready. Oh, thanks, Doug. 8 out of 10. Donnie, obviously 10 out of 10 from Aussie. Obviously.
Okay.
5
We're
out
the
of
same person.
5 out of 10. 4.5 out of 10. Ooh, 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Dan. That is a top tier TNG. 8.2 from Aussie. 8 from Eric. 7.27. A 9 from oh wow, Donnie didn't give it a 10. It's fine. 7 out of 10. That's it. So actually pretty, yeah. I mean, I just think I'm really comparing it to what TNG can be, because it just feels weird to give. I don't know, for me, okay should be average. You know, if it's okay, it's like a 5. It has to be better than average to be higher for me.
Yeah.
There wasn't much that was great in this, so I not much to pull from, etc.
I'm really curious about Silicon Avatar now.
I'm so confused. So confused.
Anyhow.
But yes, Mark, I can pimp my ride, as it were. Briefly, because as you guys know, I make the occasional Star Trek fan film. You knew that, right, Stuart? You were.
It's the first time hearing about it.
Oh my god! And you know, the thing about those is that it costs money to make, obviously, and we're basically running dry, and we don't have to pause until our big fundraiser in July, because of course July means August, getting the funds, which, you know, that's another like 4 months. So we want to shoot some more stuff in the summer and not just be stalled. There are a few new costumes we have to get, a short we want to do. So we want to GoFundMe, which is to do that. It's for £4,000. It's whatever we make of that is great. Sort of minimum needs to be at least 1,000 to just do something. 4K would give some stability in the summer and you know, keep momentum that we want to have, because part of being able to release the films is we have to have the funding to do other stuff, etc. So GoFundMe is there to kind of help. It's great because you can give $10 and that's great. There's no limit or max. It's nice like that. We're 515 so far. To wit, I believe Mark did just put in 200, which is incredible and does fund a lot of stuff right from the get-go. But when I made this campaign, it was quite nice. I had to make a few graphics. One of the things we're doing, or one of the things we want to do specifically, is that many people had asked me when I released our last film, or 2 films ago, are you going to do a film with Harriman when he gets to the museum? You know, could he go to the museum and see the Enterprise D? And I said, well, maybe. That would be kind of fun. And Marcus was interested. He watched Picard too. And this is an example of 4 sets we have. 3 ready to go, 1 that is work in progress of the Enterprise D. And I would really like to film a new short with Marcus, stepping onto the Enterprise D, living that adventure that we all saw in Picard, but from a different perspective, and seeing more of the sets. You know, his crew quarters, the transporter room, the engineering room, which I've never had before. It's a brand new set we're building for this film. So we really want to fund that film. We really want to see that little adventure. I think there's a lot of nice things we can do to that. So literally any money will help that be shot, because that's only one part of it. So if you want to see that film, put in 15. Or another thing I want to do is get some Prodigy uniforms. This is in fact the same uniform. It just fits us both if you had clips. But we want to get Prodigy uniforms because I'm very well aware that we want to tell stories past Nemesis, and we can only use Nemesis uniforms so long So we got to get we want to get these costumes all the way to kind of like it's like a black hole. We can't tell more stories past a certain point, and we'd like to, or at least have the option to. So we want to get some of those costumes. They cost $200 to make each, and that's just physically to make them. We've got to buy a fabric as well, so that's an investment, but we want to get that. I was able to make this fun graphic during the campaign of like, look at the films I've released. The timeline just keeps going. I kept making films. It's crazy. You know, that any donations go to a good home of, you're going to get films. You're going to keep getting films. We just don't want to have to stop making films in the meantime. Our next one comes out in June with Alexa and Marcus in Voyager costume, which is going to be fun because they're a good duo. So yeah, any door, literally like put in 5. Literally 5 will help. So if you can, please do. And thank you very much, Mark. You have been very, very helpful because, you know, it's a giant difference. You know, those that can give more than 5, it helps people that can't give 5, etc. So yeah.
Go sports.
Yes.
Yes. Join us on Thursday.
Thanks, Ryan. It'll be good. And yes, thanks, Chuck.
Oh, violations. Let's see what's violations about. Keiko's in it. Oh, this is about these guys.
Matthew DeFriedis asks, where would my short be compared to Picard? I want to make it a Prodigy era uniform film to kind of use more of them. I want to make it before Picard, about 6 years. So it'll be Geordie asking Harriman to come and help him with something. Matthew. So it'll be fun because
said where do we put this episode in comparison
to
Picard?
Well, we're talking about my thing.
Well, this was before your talk started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, Picard was as useless in this episode as he was in most of Picard all 3 seasons anyway, so...
I think it means review score compared to Picard.
Good God.
It's incomparable.
This will be an 8.2.
Okay, it's comparable. You proved me wrong straight away there, Stuart. Yeah.
Yes, Matthew. And yes, Matt. Next episode is Dirty Minds Done Dirt Cheap. Yes.
Right.
Violations. Mind.
Oh.
Issues.
Get well soon, Hypno. Or Hypno. All of the well getting soon.
Yes. Get well, Hypno Amber. All right, guys. Hopefully you tune in on Thursday for our next review. And yeah, we will keep showing up as long as you guys keep showing up. So,
and then yeah, Stranger Worlds before we know it.
Yeah, June 15th.
Dear me.
Right. Anyway, so we'll close out the poll, I guess.
Oh yes.
Are you going to join us for Thursday's lives? Yes, with 88%. Awesome.
Wonderful.
No.
Less wonderful.
No, yeah, what's up with that, guys? Okay. All right, on that note, I think we will call it. So until next time, he is Commander Cocky.
He's got a Foley.
See you guys later.